bookselling for a long time. How long exactly?
Since December 19... well, started my own business in December 1967, but I had a period in 2 or 3 years between 1962 and 1965.
And how did you become involved in bookselling?
I was always interested in books. I was involved in political activities. Becoming a bookseller was just a sort of extension of that. I'm a bit out of sympathy with the modern novel, which seems to me to be banal and self-congratulatory and often just ignorant.
What has been the biggest change that's been wrought since your time starting as a bookseller?
Oh, the first thing was the explosion of paperback publishing in the early 60s and the youth culture in the late 60s. And I mean, some of it was pretty bizarre, like I remember when Chariots of the Gods was sold 300,000 copies in Australia. Now that was, what to say about that I don't know, but at least it was, it represented some kind of literary culture.
For you, in your time as a bookseller, what's the thing that you most reflect on with satisfaction?
Surviving.
And on that subject...
And expanding the range. And at the moment I'm doing it hard. But I still maintain the range, and I still have a relationship with customers, and I'm not worried that people will stop buying books. But I am suffering like everybody else amongst the petty bourgeoisie from the squeeze, what Trotsky called the scissors in the Russian economy in the 1920s, because there was he put it this way, that there was a limit to what you could be charged for the peasants for goods of one sort or another, and but there was no limit to the increase in costs. The other dimension is the question of whether people will continue reading in the book form, and my impression is that they will, except for the more sort of self-absorbed. I don't want to sound too much of a snob, because people, I've learned in the long life of bookselling, people have an infinite variety of tastes, even the people who I consider banal, and it's up to them to decide what they're going to read. Crossing the border. You step into Gould's bookshop Newtown like a tourist crossing a border, or a literary traveller leaving the safe lands behind for the seedier streets, as far removed from Dimmocks as Kathmandu from Kew. It's hard to get your bearings here. There's no viaduct to trust, and the single sheet directory found at the door plots a deceitful map of the territory. Strange things are apt to happen if you trek through the aisles of travel and climb the corridors of Litchcrit. How will you ever know this land, so mysterious, so beautiful, so strange? Perhaps you'll never leave. Now you've gone native book wrecked on an alien shore.